Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dyer's Cast. I am Russell San, and with me I have.
Fishman.
Well, last we left off, Aquans and Jonas descended into the Underworld once again after it came to their attention by note of the three speakers of the elvish city of Eventide that a corpse of a thaumaturgist prototype belonging to the Court of the Seven was discovered not far from the Drow settlement they had saved previously. Having long had rumors and suspicions of the court having some degree of influence in here, this was a definite lead and definite proof of their involvement. So they decided that it would be best to track this creature's trail through the underworld.
Yep.
With the aid of the local drow, they were given two places to search. The first was the Sinking Ruins, which they found which they took some time to explore a little bit. And the second was Lake Merk, on near the shores of which was where the corpse of this creature was found.
Yep.
Lake Merk was a very inhospitable and turgid and murky and stagnant lake. Despite this fact, it was inhabited by some living creatures, some deep underground subspecies of marrow, whom proved to be hostile towards our party, though we were able to drive them off with relative ease, though unfortunately this did not answer the question of whether or not they played a hand in the death of this prototype or not. We
Yes.
continued down the basically the tunnel leading away from Lake Merk, leading away from Lake Merk that we found,
Yep.
and following its trail, and we were about ready to set up camp for the evening. And that's where we
Yes.
left off last night. So
Yep.
I will turn it over to you.
Just for clarity, the elves have no idea what that thing was. We're just calling it what we know it to be.
Yes.
So
Yes, they
they
did
found
not recognize it. We did, though.
yeah, they found a dead body that uh, shouldn't have been where it was.
Yes. They did not know what to make of it.
Yes. All right. We left the shores of Lake Burke, following sort of the trail that
Yeah.
Alice was. She was following her nose.
Yes.
We messed up
Survival
uh,
checks.
some checks to try and find out specifically to track this. But she was kind of tentatively heading us down a particular tunnel. At which point, once we were out of the smell, let's say, of Lake Merck,
Yes.
we decided to set up camp, and that's where we're at. So,
Yes.
who's first up for watch?
I think it's me.
All right, roll away.
All right. That's a total of 24 for my perception for the evening.
All right.
Obviously, we're
I'd
doing
also
the
like
usual routine.
okay. I like you also to roll two separate, keep them, which roll one first, and then roll a second one, d20s, and let me know what the numbers are, please.
13,
Mm-hmm.
5.
All right, interesting.
It's always a little concerning when the dungeon master says that.
Eh, stuff happens.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to do with regards to scroll making or anything else during your watch?
Not really. We're doing quite well for provisions at the moment. I'm probably just going to tend to my injury from the uh, the harpoon that hit me basically last time we were dealing with those Mara that hasn't quite healed yet.
Yeah. All right. Uh, Boring as it is, your watch was by uneventful.
All right. I will wake you for your portion of the watch.
Oh, well, that nat 20 is a bloody waste. But anyway, I'm wide awake for my watch.
All right.
And it also goes by uneventfully. We wake up, not knowing at all what time of day it is.
No, there's a problem with being underground.
Yes. I would like you to roll a general intelligence check, please.
All right. Just 1 second first.
And your two new portents.
Yeah, that is what I am rolling. All right. General intelligence check. 12.
All right. So our only, let's see, the only thing we have to go on is Alice's nose. We wake up in the morning. We do our usual stuff. We walk a little bit down the tunnel that we were in. And I would like you to see if Alice can still discern that trail. Or
This
are
is
we going?
still scent based, so she still has advantage, right?
It still has advantage. DC's is getting higher because it's another day gone by.
Yeah, because the trail was pretty cold yesterday. And
Yeah. Let's see what she can do.
that was the spot where it died, as far as we know.
Yeah.
All right, well, the advantage avoids a natural one. That's good.
Always good.
So that's a 16 on her part.
All right. Let's just see. Hmm. She informs you that she thinks she can still follow this. She's
All
not a
right.
trapper.
No, she's a
She
cat.
thinks she has the smell. And she says, well, basically follow her.
All right.
Before we head off, how are we doing this?
Well,
Uh,
up until now, we've been relying on light cantrips for the most part.
yes.
That may have attracted the attention of the Marrow last time,
Yeah.
but we were able to handle them. And you still presumably do not want to swap your stone off of its Constitution bonus for the time being.
Well, I had to look through my stuff during my watch, and I actually do have, from a long time ago, a scroll of dark vision.
Oh, well, all right. Well, here's a question we never had to ask. How long does that spell last? 'Cause we have never cast Dark Vision.
I think it's 8 hours, but I don't know.
It is. Duration 8 hours with no concentration required.
Yep. So that's something to keep in mind.
Okay, we can do that if you want, if you don't mind using the scroll.
Sitting in my inventory gathering dust.
All right, let's try to be a bit stealthier this time then.
All right. So
I
I
will focus my mind and use my third eye ability to grant myself dark vision until we take our next rest.
and I will scratch off this scroll of dark vision.
All right.
Hold on a sec. There it is. That's been there since I don't know when.
Yeah, I don't remember when we picked that up.
Eh,
So we
eh,
can all of us can see in the dark for the moment.
Yes, and this is not where we are. This
Okay.
is just the first moment of interest. We travel along for a while. Um, let's say better part of the morning, going from cavern to cavern through tunnels. Sometimes it's narrow, sometimes it's huge,
Mhm.
sometimes we have to actually go underwater. But for the most part, it is relatively straight. Well, there are no forks, I think is what I'm trying to get to here. There's no
Yeah.
point at which we could lose ourselves.
It's linear for the time being.
Yeah, we're not going in a straight line, but the line is not confusing at all.
We have but one path to follow except going backwards, in other words.
Yeah, we either go back to Lake Merc, and I think there was a number of passages off there,
Yes.
but here so far, this was some at some point in time either a lava tube or underground river or something, and it was relatively straight. Well, you know,
Yes.
we're about ready to break for lunch. So there's no really point in doing any survival checks at this point because there's really nothing that we can mess up.
All right.
So take our break,
Yep.
have some lunch.
Have some lunch. Well, with this short rest, I'm fully healed from
Yep.
last session. The injuries.
And mark off a day's worth of food, of course, for
Yeah.
today. And the other thing, you notice the cavern is changing slightly.
All
We,
right.
we walked half a day, so about 4 hours.
Yes.
And initially, it started off being a lot of what you expect from this a bit of sandstone, limestone, especially around the lake. Then it's more returned to granite for a while. And at the moment, it seems to be, well, roll a nature check.
All right. I do have nature. On the other hand, that's a really low number.
The DC is really small for this.
11.
That's enough. Only needed the 10.
Yeah.
Uh, we on the plateau growing up, we were accustomed to because there's a it's like extinct volcano. Well, not so extinct anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, this is what you more like metamorphic rock. This is rock that has been exposed to some heat at some point in time.
Yeah.
So
So there's evidence of volcanic activity around here.
somewhere, you're not sure where. It's not hot or anything.
Yeah.
This is normal cave temperatures. So it's whatever it was a while ago. This is something to keep in mind.
Mhm.
So we finish our lunch. We get up and we continue.
Yep. Your spell is half the run its duration at this point.
Yeah. Um,
I can maintain my dark vision through my third eye ability for the moment, so that's fine.
yeah. So about an hour later, we come into this cave here.
All right.
This is, as you can see, the floor is almost crystalline.
Yep.
And the cave walls are well, these are like cave walls that there is in the incarnate, so um not quite looking like this. Again, more smooth.
Okay.
So and then there's of course a little bit of rubble and stuff on the floor. And there is no exit to this room cave, except we notice in the upper left right hand corner there is a hole in the floor. It's kind of like a tunnel passage, whatever. Uh, anyway, it's a hole.
Yeah. Something that'll probably be difficult to get back up.
Well, would you like to go over and investigate it?
Yes, I think we should start with that.
Yeah. Roll away.
All right. 26.
This is a shaft, naturally formed.
All right.
As far as you can tell, there is no light down there.
Ah,
Dark does not penetrate it. You have a little bit of somewhat ambient light here, but only to the point that dark vision will work. But in that hole,
pitch
nothing.
black. All right.
It's pitch black.
Well, there seems to be a large number of stones around here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take a small pebble.
Yep.
Now we've done this trick very often. I'll take reach into my component pouch and take out some of that phosphorescent moss, sprinkle it on the stone, and cast the light cantrip on it. So we now have a blue-green bioluminescent algae rock.
And we've gone from near darkness to bright light, just like
Yeah.
that. We're all going like this.
Yep. And I am going to drop it in the hole.
Okay.
See what happens.
You drop it in the hole after your eyes blink and adjust to this,
Yeah.
and it falls. You
I am watching it as it falls.
see it fall because it's illuminating the walls of the shaft, which are also of the same rock of the floor, and it falls.
How far does this fall?
Hard to tell. I'll get in a few moments. You'll hear it go blink, and you'll see it roll off to the side of it.
Okay, so it's still visible.
You can see it. It's a long way off. An
Okay.
intelligence check, please.
9.
Not sure.
Hmm.
Hard to tell. Anywhere between 75 to 150 feet, maybe a bit more.
All right, quite the distance.
Yes.
Well, we have a couple of options then.
We
We
have a
could
new option.
what?
We have a new option.
Yes, we have the figurine of wondrous power.
No, I was referring to the movable rod.
Yes, I'm just not entirely sure how useful that's going to be here.
Hold it over the hole, tell it not to move, tie a rope to it, and you can descend down.
Yes, we can try doing that.
All
So our
right.
combined ropes of climbing have a combined reach of 120 feet.
Yes. Another 50-foot sections. Are they actually 60 foot?
I didn't write that down. No, they are 60 feet long.
Oh, there you go. We'll lose a little bit in tying knots and stuff, but yeah.
Make sure to write that down.
All right.
We could do that. How deep did you say it was about?
Anywhere between 75 and 150 with that roll he made.
So the rope may not be sufficient anyway.
True.
Alternatively, we could jump and you could cast Featherfall on us.
I certainly can. Be a new experience for Alice.
Oh, we can just unsummon her.
Oh, come on. I can do up to 5 people.
True. Or I can just hang on to her.
I don't trust the magic for your familiar, but you're gonna trust yourself for me getting it down there.
Yeah, I'm
That's
trying to take it back and maybe I'll convince her to jump.
uh, she does whatever you tell her.
Yeah. Anyway, I think
Yeah.
that's the better option because we may not be able to get the rod back, and it might come in handy at some point.
All right. I'll
And we
burn
don't even know if
a
the ropes will reach far enough to begin with.
I'll burn a first level spell slot.
Yeah. Before we do this,
Yep.
I'm also going to use a first level spell slot and cast Mage Armor myself.
Just in case you bounce off a wall.
Well, no, this area has proven dangerous already. I didn't do it when we woke up, so now it seems like a good point to cast that.
All right. We jump.
All right, we jump, all three of us. You cast Featherfall on us.
Uh, just to freak out Alice. I waited about halfway down.
Anyway,
I cast Featherball.
yeah, I think that's too far even for a cat to take no falling damage.
Yeah. We fall about 100 feet.
All right, so the ropes would have worked.
Yep.
That's fine.
And we are now.
In a featureless tunnel by the looks of it.
It is utterly dark.
So, I just have a quick question. Is this the
Yep.
tunnel we just came down, or as in this is vertical, or this is what's stretching out in front of us now?
We are now. This is again a top-down view.
Okay, so this is what's in front of us, not the tunnel we just came down.
No. We're down. Yeah, we bounce off walls of that earlier. The shaft we just came down. Now the shaft is pretty much vertical.
All right,
In the immediate bathed area,
of
which we have
what?
because of your rock, it is again a metamorphic, almost crystalline floor,
All right,
and quite flat.
I'm having a hard time picturing how that thing got up that tunnel we just came down. They do know spells, but I most of our spells we've seen them cast have been combative in nature. So
All right. So far, from what we've known of uh, the prototypes,
yeah,
we've been calling them, they were shock troops.
yes.
This guy was, as we noted, an improvement.
Yes, a bit more advanced than the ones we fought previously.
Yeah, because all the ones we fought previously just blew up when they were anywhere, near anything or just run out of spells or whatever.
Yeah, true. It could have possibly no different spells than the ones we encountered up till now.
True? Or did we do any detect magic on it?
I do not believe so.
Could have had a magic item.
Could have. I think the elves would have searched for that.
Possibly, yes.
Anyway, so dark vision isn't going to be viable down here, is what you're saying.
No, it will not work.
All right, then we have to switch back to using our light cantrips for the time being.
Yes, have about only about
You think you have 3 hours left on the.
2.5 to 3 hours left on my dark vision.
Yeah, and my dark vision will last for however long it takes us before we take our next long rest.
But, all right, two light spells it is. I assume you just extinguish the one that's on the rock,
It
and
goes out automatically when I cast another one.
yeah. So there we go.
All right, this is a long shot, but we have Alice try and guide us down here.
Roll away.
Yeah, that was probably asking a bit much. 7.
She's lost the trail.
All right. For the time being, then I will unsummon her.
Uh, the only thing that the only thing that makes it sound plausible that we are heading in the right direction is so far there hasn't been any branches.
Yes.
So that thing, whatever it was, uh, must have come from this direction, or at some point doubled back, and we don't know any of that. What any of that we don't know.
Yes. So just looking at this picture here shows the tunnel going forwards and backwards. Is there only one way forward?
Uh, from the shaft,
Yeah.
this tunnel, so basically towards the bottom of the screen,
Yeah.
uh, gets very, very narrow very quickly, and then you might get Alice to squeeze through it at at its smallest, but you and I couldn't.
Okay.
And we surmise that we'll just keep calling it the prototype for the moment. Um, Probably couldn't fit in there either.
All right. So the only way to go is again forward for the time being.
Yeah. Could you roll an investigation check, please? Now that we have all this bright light.
Natural 20.
You notice, because we're looking around trying to figure out which way this thing came from, actual claw marks in the rock in the shaft.
Oh, maybe just climbed. It does. Those gauntlets did end in some sharp, nasty-looking claws.
Apparently, that might be a possibility.
All right. It has to be rather strong then.
This is something worrisome for us, I think. Uh, we knew that they were experimenting.
Yeah.
Apparently, their experiments have taken a bit of a leap forward.
Yes.
All right, something
Well,
to keep in mind.
yes. Well, the only thing we can do is keep going forward at the time being, so we will do so.
All right, I am going to do a little bit of a montage here because this dark section goes on for quite a long way.
Yeah.
It's some form of shaft or tunnel or whatever. By a long way, I mean by time to set up camp tonight, we won't be through it.
All right.
We won't get through it tomorrow. That's why I'm going to montage this.
Okay.
So I would like to just quickly just roll two uh, sets of watches, and then we'll get on to the third day.
Okay.
So,
I have a natural 20 for my first watch,
okay,
and a 22 for the second.
more than enough. So when we woke up, uh, we only had 5 days left on our contingencies.
Yeah, so we're taking 2 more days off that and 2 more days worth of food.
Yeah, so we're gonna be down to 3 days on those. All right, with the hut and how it blends in.
Yes.
There are some interesting things that happen, but nothing that is going to involve us having to get up and deal with it. There are cave critters down here.
Yes.
Uh, Sometimes like a flock of bats will go by. Sometimes something really large uh, kind of rumbles by, but nothing that actually uh, warrants us to do anything. Nothing that we're concerned with a dispel magic kind of thing.
Okay.
Except on the last night of the watch.
Okay. So this is
This is as we're about to get up for uh, like on the second day of this travel in this tunnel.
yes.
And so we're not sure again what time of day it is, but it doesn't matter. We're probably just at the point we're getting up. Something weird happens. Part of the floor seems to bulge up a little bit,
We've dealt with this before.
and can you roll a perception check, please? This is pitch black.
So no advantage.
Disadvantage.
Oh. All right. 10.
You don't see any real details. All you know is that the floor has gone and bulged up like this. Seems to be a bit of movement, and then it all subsides back down.
Okay.
Nothing else happens.
Well, we've dealt with some underground creatures before that could tunnel.
True, but the difference there and here is this is almost smooth like glass at this point. The floor is uh, very, very flat and hard rock. So once the hut's gone and we have our breakfast and check, I would like you to roll an investigation check, but this time you can have advantage because we'll have our lights going
Yeah.
and we can spot easier stuff that's going on.
Yes. Unfortunately, those are bad rolls. 13.
You can't find a single mar on the floor.
All right. That is interesting.
No cracks, no rubble. Wow, there's a bits of rubble here and there, but nothing unusual.
All right. I will definitely cast Mage Armor on myself before we set off this today.
All right. So, yes,
And I guess we're back to using light cantrips, unless for the time being.
there is no light here.
Yeah.
No light at all. So, you've marked off 2 days worth of food.
Well, technically 3 days as we started, but yes.
Yeah. And we now only have
3 days left.
3 days left on the contingency spell.
Yep.
And we start our march.
Yes.
Is Alice out?
Not for the time being. There's nothing for her really to do at the
Would
moment.
a straight perception roll, please?
Can't I have your resistance?
Yeah, but it's straight. That's what makes it straight.
Well, Alice wouldn't help regardless. Advantage and disadvantage will cancel out.
Yeah, that's true. Unless there's a smell involved.
Yeah. 22.
All right, we walk for about an hour, and you're fairly certain that there seems to be some light up ahead.
All right. I just move my staff a little bit to make sure it's not some sort of mirror or reflective surface reflecting our light back at us.
Well, you've been used to that for a while because we've been getting a lot of that. Because this is fairly polished, well, not polished walls, but these are fairly crystalline walls, so we have been accustomed to that. No, this is definitely an additional light that we are not creating.
All right. At this point, would this light be sufficient to navigate by?
Not yet,
All right. When
but
I
if, but another little, maybe another 100 feet or so, we might be able to get by on dark vision.
All right. Well, possibly a good idea is for us to douse our light sources if we plan to sneak up on whatever is causing this light.
Okay, if we're going to do that,
Not for the
uh,
time, not yet, but
okay, I would like if you're trying to sneak up, I think we should just roll for stealth at this point. Then you roll yours, I'll roll mine.
I assume this is just a straight roll.
Yeah,
Okay.
no disadvantage. Yes,
All right. 13.
I have 24.
Yeah.
So we are, as a party, really quite stealthy. We progress, and the light is definitely growing. You're fairly certain at this point, with dark vision, you'd be able to see where you're going.
All right. So we have a choice at this point. Do we want to do we want to douse our lights and try to navigate by this? Or do we want to risk possible detection and just keep going?
That is the choice.
Well, I'm going to ask for your opinion. What do you think?
Let's see if I have an opinion. I do not.
On the one hand, almost everything we've encountered down here has been hostile. On the other hand, we don't know it's anything dangerous yet, and
We don't.
wandering around in the dark might just be equally as dangerous.
Uh, there are all kinds of possibilities.
Yes.
So what should assume?
I think for the time being, we'll just proceed as is.
All right. We are going to move forward cautiously because we rolled our stealth.
Yep.
And as we move forward, the light continues to grow. It is almost like a scintillating, crystalline, flickering light.
All right.
Uh, Almost like your, well, almost like our torch or our um, torches. Our stabs with the light on the end of them are refracting off of stuff,
Yes.
but more than just what we are doing.
Okay.
And we round a bend and we come into this.
All right. That's a lot of crystals.
We come into a section that almost looks like a geode.
Yeah. That we're walking through.
Yeah, that there is a path on the floor that you can walk, but from this end, you see it's a dazzling display of tons of different colors.
Mhm.
But one thing you notice is not all the light is just light refracting off of this from our torches,
Our light cantrips.
light sources. They also seem to be producing their own light.
All right.
I would like you to roll an intelligence check, please.
10.
How would you like to proceed?
All right. Well, near as I can tell, this seems to split off by the looks of it.
Yeah, we seem to have, well, from where we're standing, oh,
Mhm.
sorry, a little bit closer. This is what we see. We're coming in here
Yeah.
and we see two passages.
One narrow and one more open.
Yeah, and the more open one is the one with a ton more crystals in it.
Yes. All right. Well, just viewing this from the viewpoint of caution, there could be pros and cons to either path.
Always is.
Yep. Uh, I don't think we have to
I
worry
tell you
too
which one
much
I can
about
tell
our.
prettier to go down.
Yes. I do not think we have to worry too much about our light sources at this point.
No, our light sources are redundant.
Yes. So we can douse those for the time being and navigate by this light.
Yeah, it does change the intensity just a little bit,
Mhm.
but it's really kind of cool. It's very prismatic.
Yes. But my main point is we probably don't have to worry about that and our light cantrips drawing as much attention as I initially feared if there's something like this down here.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I think we'll just go for the area where it'll be easier for us to maneuver in at the time being.
Yes, these crystals are sharp in places.
Yes.
Uh, they are literally like crystals. Like they're, I mean, you take a nature check if you like, but these are a myriad of things from diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, quartz, amethyst. Everything you can imagine is in this array of crystals.
All right. My nature check was 27.
And you just got that.
Okay.
Plus a few things that I probably couldn't mention because I didn't know what they are, and you do.
Yeah. All right. So some of these crystals look like they're naturally sharp. They're not clean, smooth edges.
So,
So we
uh,
could possibly potentially injure ourselves on these things,
if you fell on them, you'd be in a lot of hurt. But if you're just walking by them, you're fine.
which there's plenty of room to do for the time being.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think we should proceed, but proceed with some caution. You don't
We'll
know
go
what
off
to.
the stealth rolls for the moment.
Sorry?
We'll go off the previous stealth rolls for the moment.
Yeah, well, I just didn't mean I did caution in this case didn't just mean stealth. I mean
Oh,
walk carefully and try and avoid, cutting
right.
ourselves open on one of these sharp crystal blades.
Uh, yeah, you'd have to really try hard to cut yourself. And we're going to be cautious, so you're fine. They are, like I said, glowing crystals. They're really, really quite nice.
Right.
We proceed.
Yes.
So we walk, weaving our way through here
Yes.
and getting up to about here. And I would like you to roll a perception check, please.
All right.
You can have advantage.
Right?
You can have advantage. We're both very alert at this point.
All right. 25.
You're not certain, but you think you felt a bit of a rumble or a tremor in the floor.
Yeah, well, we definitely know there's something around here that can tunnel through the earth somehow or
Yep.
glide through the earth like an earth elemental.
Yeah. What do you want to do? Keep going?
Yep. And if it's just a minor tremor,
Yep.
nothing to worry about.
We pass by this lone crystal, gets about here, and then the tremor gets considerably more. Uh,
Okay.
about a dozen earth elementals come up through the floor surrounding us.
A dozen earth elementals.
Yeah, you can roll a perception check if you want a more accurate number.
No, that doesn't really matter at this point. That's more than we could definitely handle.
They, you're primordial.
Yes.
Uh, would you like to roll insight check, please? You can have advantage.
Sure. 24.
They are very upset. You can feel it. They are, and you can understand primordial.
Yes.
Can you tell like the dialects because these are earth elementals and you're mostly your
Yes.
water?
Technically speaking, I speak Aquan, which is a dialect of Primordial, and they speak Terran, but we can communicate with one another.
Yeah, they're upset. They are calling us thieves.
All right,
Uh,
well, I will attempt to explain to them that we have only just arrived here, and we have not stolen anything.
and then you're being called a liar at this point in time. You can hold on a sec. Actually, roll a persuasion check. We'll go there first.
All right. Just a straight roll, I assume?
Yeah, you're the only one talking. I'm just standing here hoping not to get squished.
Should I use a portent here? This kind of feels important that we, not end up fighting
Hey,
all of these guys. Yeah, I will use a portent.
Okay. What are you using?
So that brings, with my +1 charisma, that brings up to a 17.
All right. So you are attempting to persuade these elementals, which have their fists raised, looking like they're ready to smear us onto the floor.
Mhm.
Uh, and you hear ringing out a single voice saying, "Wait!"
All right.
And they all instantly freeze.
Someone's clearly in charge here.
Yes. And then the voice says, "I recognize him." And the elementals move aside as a specific one moves forward.
So I take it these are similar elementals to what we encountered previously when
Uh,
we found that,
Roll an intelligence check because I can't give you too much for free.
right, 20 total.
You recognize this one specifically.
All right.
The others are various shapes and sizes, and it's kind of hard to tell. Some of them look like an earth elemental that we would summon, but most of them, yes, are of that tribe that we ran into a way back now. But
Yes.
apparently, they have an amazing communication system, and of course, they can travel very quickly
Yes.
in the rock.
So that might have been them I spotted last night.
Possibly, or a sentry, who knows?
Ironically, I think the last time, or the first time we encountered these creatures was at that village where they're having issues with, and the other crystals like this were there. But that's also around the first time we encountered one of the prototypes.
Yes.
Mhm.
And apparently they're having some issues again because they're very upset. They're calming down now
Yes.
because,
So
uh,
we're not having our heads caved in with fists of stone.
yeah, it would be very messy.
Yes. And we
Yes,
definitely could not fight off all of them.
this particular elemental is the elemental, the one that was in charge of that. Well, for all intents and purposes, the family of elementals
Yeah.
whose cave was being pillaged. And yeah, well, you specifically recognize him, and he recognizes us.
Yes.
You specifically, because well, you stand out. I'm
Yes.
just a human.
Well, I
A lot of
point
us, not a
I
whole lot of you.
there are more than just me. I point him out to you and explain that this is the same one we encountered previously.
Hey, I recognize him. My brain's woken up. Nothing like a little bit of adrenaline to,
Yeah.
get the juices flowing.
All right. Well, all
Yes,
right. Since he seems to be in charge again,
he's not,
well,
but he is respected.
yes. In that case, I'm going to ask uh, our friend for an explanation about what's going on here this time.
Well, you notice that this collection of crystals
Mhm.
is immense.
Yes.
It is sufficient that it is, well, feeding, for all intents and purposes, a very large number of these guys. This is the biggest family or group that we've ever, well, we've only seen two. This is the biggest
Yes.
one we've seen. But this is actually quite a large size. And on, something's been happening.
Mhm.
Uh, some of their crystals have gone missing, but they don't know how. Because of his prior experiences and our help with him, he is aware that certain individuals with magical talents uh, can get around and possibly harvest or steal crystals unknown to them. So that's why this is what's causing the problem, right? Their home
Yes.
is being pillaged a little bit at a time, but they're concerned that it's going to escalate.
Yeah, and they don't understand how it's happening.
They are creatures that don't use magic in a sense. They are magical creatures.
Mhm.
They have, as remember from last time, certain abilities with stone, rock, and stuff, and
Yes.
they can do things. but they are not magic users.
Yeah, they do not have our understanding of magic.
Yeah, they don't have arcana. They have inborn abilities.
Yeah.
And their inborn abilities have not helped them so far. They've just been keeping watch and hoping to catch the thief, which they thought they'd just done.
Hmm. All right. Well, the first thing to do, obviously, is to investigate the area where these crystals have gone missing.
All right, roll an investigation check, and I will scroll up to that part of the map.
All right. Very good number. 27.
All right, as you see at the top here, there is some damage.
Yes.
The crystals are either broken or some of the floor has been broken to get the crystals out.
Mhm.
Uh, from this line of rubble here on, there are no crystals. And they are at a complete and total loss to how this is happening because, like I said, this is their home.
Yes.
And, well, they keep an eye on it. And there's almost always individuals here. I mean, they come and they go, but for the most part, there's always at least a half a dozen, earth elementals here.
Yes. Well, yes, and if you suddenly were in your home and suddenly things went missing and someone was taking from you and you couldn't find out what it was, it would upset you.
Oh yeah, they're not happy. Well, fortunately, at the moment, they're not unhappy with us,
Mhm.
but they are very upset because they don't know what to do. They can't. It's also like, all right, imagine your house and things are going missing, but
Mhm.
on top of that, you're completely helpless to figure it out.
Yes, that is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
so it's
where,
understandable that there's problems.
yes,
Did we notice any tracks in that?
you roll a 27.
Yes.
I gotta roll something here. 27 is really high. Ooh, that is very bad.
Bad for us or bad for someone else?
All right, tracks, not so much, but you do notice something fairly familiar
All right.
here. It's nagging at the back of your mind. No, let's see if I can fill this in a bit better for you if my brain's awake yet. Oh, that's actually not that bad. You're fairly certain between my rolls and yours that we figured out that force magic is being used.
All right. So someone's using force spells to shatter the crystals and then.
Somehow harvesting them and without their knowing, and it is force magic being used.
All right. So there's evidence of force damage then.
Yeah, not so much in this area down below, but up near the top, the shatter patterns on some of the broken crystals and on a bit of the floor and that sort of stuff is very, very reminiscent of, well, we use force magic all the time.
Yeah. However, magic missile isn't exactly the most destructive when it comes to solid structures like
There
stone.
are other forms of force magic, as you know.
Yes, you know one obviously,
Yes.
and Bigby's hand could very easily be used to harvest this. All right. I want to roll an Arcana check and try and determine if I think Bigby's hand could be used to cause this damage. If that looks like plausible.
Go for it.
All right. 19.
That's sufficient. Yes, it's easy for Bigby's hand to harvest these crystals.
Yeah.
The part that has you confused is
How no one noticed it.
how did they not notice it? Bigby's hand is visible.
Yes.
There are ways around that, but for all we know is there's you know they haven't been able to figure it out. They're not the brightest bulbs in the
No, they
package.
do not have our intelligence.
We could probably figure a way of tricking them. Uh, so you figure maybe someone else has.
Yeah, but Bigby's hand is not all, it's also not subtle. And
No,
you're using it to bash crystals apart and rip them out of the ground.
true, but something,
Mhm.
and we know it's magical.
Yeah.
It's managing it.
Yes. All right.
In all our investigation, our friend who's been hovering here, and just his body language alone, without him saying anything, you know he wants you to help.
Yes. Well, I'll say that we will look into this. Near as we can tell, there was no evidence of anything in that direction we just came from
No,
for this. So I think the best option for us is to continue down this path and see what we can find for the
all
time
right.
being.
They have sent out scouts, of course. Uh, they haven't gone very far
Mhm.
because they don't want to thin out their numbers too much. Their primary concern is preserving what they have here.
All right.
So, what is the plan?
Well, so presumably this continues onward.
Yes, it
Well,
goes.
I think the best option for the moment is to follow the fairly obvious trail of destruction
Okay,
for as far as we can.
all right.
And we haven't found any tracks, unfortunately. I don't have locate object prepared because I did not think I was going to need it down here.
Yeah. Even with all the spells that we can prepare, we can't prepare them all.
No. So, short of conjuring an arcane eye to precede us, which could help, but is a bit early for that, the next thing that comes to mind is detect magic, which I also did not have prepared because I assume these crystals have some degree of magical properties to them.
You're familiar with them. Yes, they
Yes.
do have a magical property. From the last time we came across these crystals, way, way back,
Yeah.
before Lyria, yes.
All right. So detect magic can assist us in that regard, but the problem is it lasts concentration 10 minutes
And only 30 feet.
and only at a range of 30 feet, and I can only do that for a short period of time. Yeah, and detect magic is not one of the features of my new third eye ability. So I can't use it to detect magic for longer than that. So that could assist us, but the problem with that is it's a cast. Take 10 minutes to ritual cast it. Proceed for looking around with that. Stop for 10 more minutes, and then that could take a while, is what I'm saying.
Yes, it certainly could.
So I'm not sure how helpful that's going to be for the time being. So it might just be the best idea to proceed at the moment and see what we find on our own.
Okay, just going to check one more thing here. Okay, no, I do not have a scroll of detect magic.
Yeah, I don't even think you know the spell.
I have, and I found some scrolls.
Yeah,
Remember? I do have a scroll of identify. I did not make it.
true.
Okay.
Well, near as I can tell, that's the best option for us to start, at least. To proceed, follow the path of destruction. Hope we can notice something that they can't for the time being.
All right. With light, without
Yeah.
light.
Well, trying to sneak up on someone, dark vision is helpful, but once we get far away from this crystal area, there's no natural light anyway, so dark vision doesn't help.
All right.
So I guess we need to use light again.
Okay, we will proceed.
Yes.
Now, the area of destruction is very minimal.
Yeah.
Once we get past what we think was probably the edge of that cavern where these crystals are forming, the destruction ends.
All right. I think at this point would be a good time for us to check for tracks again, because now on undisturbed ground we might have better luck.
All right,
All right.
go for it.
Natural 20.
All right, natural 20. You do notice
All
some scuff marks.
right.
Imagine someone carrying something,
Very heavy.
or a weak like us,
Mhm.
and every now and then they stumble a little bit and they scuff their booted foot on this almost uh, crystalline floor.
All right. Well, we have no better trail to follow, I say, so starting with this might not be a bad idea.
We continue through several passageways, several tunnels, I should say,
Mhm.
some larger areas, some smaller areas. This continues for quite some time. We are now approaching probably a reasonable lunch hour.
All right. Let's take a short rest then.
And I would like a perception check while we're sitting here quietly doing nothing.
All right. 19.
You hear something. I'm not sure what it is, and it's definitely ahead of us.
Okay.
Kind of like something that's bounced off a few walls before it's gotten to your ears.
All
But
right.
there's definitely a
Echo it.
sound of something ahead. You're not sure if it was something being dropped, something being dragged, something being banged. You don't know because it was quite distant.
All right. Well, we'll finish our short rest.
Yep.
I'll use Arcane Recovery to regain the only spell slot I've expended.
Okay.
And let's continue heading in the direction of that sound.
All right, we do so. You notice something slightly changing now in the nature of the corridor.
All right.
It is no longer uh, pitch dark here.
All right.
There is a small amount of ambient light, similar to what we had before we got into this area of darkness.
Okay, so dim light up ahead.
Very, very, very dim. But when you compare it to absolute pitch darkness, yes, it's
All right.
detectable.
All right. Well, for the time being, we're fine.
Yeah. All right, we continue.
As far as I can tell, we're still following that trail. There haven't been any.
Uh, at this point, I think we'll have to probably refresh that check.
All right. But there haven't been any forks or anything or other tunnels.
No,
All right. So we still are proceeding in the right direction as far as we can tell.
this has been fairly linear.
All right. Well, it isn't as good. So survival for me is, yeah, 11.
No, not a nat 20.
No.
We have no idea.
Yes. All right. Well, we haven't seen any mundane passages that branch off from here. So as far as we can tell, we're heading in the right direction still.
Okay. We come to a bit of a narrowing, and then it starts to widen out into another cavern. At that point, we do start detecting more rubble. I would
Okay.
like a perception check where you can have advantage.
18.
For the most part, it's just rocks.
Yeah.
But you do notice mixed in with those rocks are some shattered crystals.
All right. I think we're on the right track, I say.
Yeah, it looks like with that roll,
Mhm.
you're reasonably certain that this might just be like a refuse pile of crystals.
Yeah.
And
That looks like a door.
you don't quite see that. We're over here
Okay.
where the rubble pile is. And you can see it's quite extensive.
All right. Yep. So, a great deal of resource waste is going on here.
Yeah. As we round into this corridor, into this area here,
Mhm.
once we get to about here, we do notice that there is a straight wall section here with an archway.
All right. So now we see the door. Effectively.
We see the door. No, there's no door. Sorry. There's no door. It's just an archway. We also notice something else.
All right. What else do we notice?
As we run around this corner here, about here is, oh, hard to say exact height, somewhere between 8 and 9 feet tall, a large ape-like creature with orange fur, a huge jaw with weird teeth in it, and glowing eyes.
Oh, I
Uh,
think I know what this is.
and its tongue is sort of hanging out a little bit, and it's salivating, and it's grunting, and is also carrying a struggling, uh, well, hard to say. Maybe a perception check. It
Total of 20.
looks like an elvish maiden who is not happy and screaming, but definitely being held.
All right. This is an unusual sight.
And they seem to be heading towards this archway.
All right. So when you say elven maiden, do you mean dark elf, wood elf, high elf? We've encountered a
You
few.
rolled 20, didn't you?
Total, yes.
Not dark elf, no.
All right.
High.
That's interesting.
Yep.
The most common elves we find down here are dark elves.
Yep.
And as far as we know,
Out of control, out of normal setting
yeah,
image we just saw.
yes. So, and as far as we know, none of the elves from Eventide come make it out this far.
Did we ever bother asking them? I don't know.
Well, as
We
far as we know, they don't tend to come down here.
No, they don't. They don't. They've pretty much got to the point where they're trying to consider it as this is the way things used to be,
Mhm.
and now we need to do other things so that our race can survive, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as we know, they don't come down here.
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure I recognize what that creature is.
Well, you can roll an Arcana check if you like.
Yeah. 21.
I don't know what your guess is first.
A Bulgara?
No.
Oh, okay.
It is definitely a demon.
All right. Yeah, so Bulgara is a type of demon.
Yeah, but not that one.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure. All right. Well, some sort of demonic ape-like thing.
Yep.
And just because I'm in a skeptical mood, I would like.
Heading through that arch at this point.
So we don't have visual.
You're
Oh,
you're far away at this
all
point.
right, fine. We should get closer and try and find out what's going on here, I say.
All right.
But this seems very suspicious to me.
Okay. So we are racing, or are we walking, or are we stealthing?
Yeah, speed is of the essence here. It
All
didn't
right.
seem to see us for some reason.
I
Mhm.
would like
Stealthy.
a Constitution check, please.
23.
We're both in prime shape at this point. We jog easily up to
Yeah, we've been sauntering.
and around and see now into here.
All right. Not a very spacious room.
No, this is a big room.
Oh.
This is a very big room.
Oh,
There's more than 100 feet in this direction.
all right then. So I can't see all of this, I suspect.
No, and about 50 feet to this wall. This is not, doesn't look like this. It's
Okay.
a raised stone platform. The giant demonic ape is in the process now of chaining up the
Yeah, this looks like some sort of ritual
elvish
sacrifice.
elvish maiden onto this platform
Mhm.
and is bellowing at us as in a taunt.
Okay. Well, now that I have visual on this,
Yep.
before we roll for initiative,
All right.
can I attempt to disbelieve an illusion because there is something about this does not ring true to me?
Okay. First off,
Mhm.
we are probably going to need to roll initiative first
All right.
because there are other things involved here.
Um, I have a 13.
So, no, that doesn't even matter yet. I'll just put it down. You have a 13.
Mhm.
I have a 10. We are not going first.
All right. Well, that's either the captive or the demon.
All right. Demon is, besides bellowing rage at us every now and then, taunting us, is finishing fastening the maiden. That's what it
So that's
does.
its action for all intents and purposes.
For all intents and purposes, that's its point of view for this. Yes. Then we come to you because you're next. I'm apparently running up the rear in this one.
All right. Well, I would like to try and disbelieve an illusion.
Go for it.
The illusion being this scenario.
All right.
All right. So if I remember correctly, this is an investigation check.
Yes.
17.
Oh, is that going to check something here first? Cool. I wrote that down. Yes, I did. Yay. This is an illusion.
This
All
is
of
an
it.
illusion. All right, all of it.
Well, the platform's real.
Okay, the platform is real, but the demon, and the maiden are an illusion.
Yes. The
Right.
chains as well.
The chains are not.
The chains as well are an illusion.
Okay, so
The only thing real here is what you see in this, except the
okay,
platform doesn't quite look like that.
so it's all an illusion. There's nothing at all there apart from this.
Thing.
All right, I say you can. It says you can calm down. There's no need to hurry. None of it says that this display is not real. I say.
Quite right.
Yeah.
There's nothing here.
And it said it's amazing the amount of effort some people go to use illusions only to come up with some scenes that make absolutely no sense. I say. All right, but we should still be on our guard because illusions don't tend to come from nowhere. I say.
Yes. So, what is real here is a stone wall with
Yes,
a stone arch. And then, of course, above that is the regular cave part. And we have this rectangular room,
with
roughly about 100 feet by 50 feet,
with an
and this
altar in there,
platform. Hmm?
with a platform with an altar in there or something.
Platform and an altar in the middle.
Okay,
Well, a platform.
all right. I would like to use my movement to move forward. Just take a look in the room. Just I'm going to stay in the archway.
Okay, so you move forward. Just tell me when you want me to stop.
Just like right when I'm under the arch, not in the room itself.
Okay, so right here.
Yeah, I just want to look in and
Okay, to look in, you'll actually have to pass the threshold to be able to see into the corners.
okay. Uh, I don't know. That feels like this feels like a trap. For the moment, I'll just wait here and see what happens. So that's my turn, I guess, if we're still in
It's
combat.
quiet.
All right.
I join you, and I say, "Well, let's have a.
Yeah, I already used my action, so there's not much else I can do on my turn.
I'm going to do a perception check."
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty good. I kind of see it's a bit far away. We have some bright light here. Says I see a hole in the wall there, about maybe 4 or 5 feet off the floor, and another one over here.
All right.
Just a small aperture.
Yeah, like something that like gas or something else could be fired through.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I assume this is some sort of trap, which means the illusions might be automated. I assume the pantomime is still going on because illusions don't tend to just disappear. They just become,
Translucent.
yeah, like
It'll,
they lack their lack of substance becomes apparent.
you can hear faintly the groans and moans and screams and taunting, and of course you can see uh, the vague outline of the
Yeah.
creatures doing their thing.
Yes. All right. Well, we come back to my turn. I would like to investigate the passage into this room.
Okay.
I'm looking for some sort of pressure plate or some other form of trap because I think this is what this is.
All right. Tell me exactly where you're looking.
All right. The archway and the floor in front of the room, basically, without going inside.
Okay. So you want to look on the floor,
Yep. The
up
archway,
the archway.
yeah, and the walls, basically. The
All right.
entrance to this room is what I want to investigate
All right. Roll away.
with your assistance.
Yes.
That wasn't very good. 16?
You see a stone floor, a stone set of stone walls,
Mhm.
and a stone archway.
All right, so there's no obvious trap on the entranceway. That doesn't mean there isn't a trap in this room, unfortunately. I could have rolled too poorly, or it just might mean the entranceway isn't trapped.
Well, lately I've been preparing Unseen Servant. I better hold on a second. Let's make sure I still have it prepared.
Mhm.
Yes, I have Unseen Servant prepared. I could have it stomp around in the room if you like.
Yeah, that may not be a bad idea, but we should there's a step backward just so that we're not in the archway.
I do so.
Yeah, I will
And
join you.
we step back,
Yeah,
and I have instruct my Unseen Servant to go and stomp around, especially on that platform,
yeah,
and
anywhere basically that.
poke its fingers into those holes that I see, and it does so. Um, how long are we going to let it do this?
Until you're convinced it's done a thorough job since it's your spell.
Well, it's covered the room, and it'll take the duration of the spell to do so.
All right.
Uh, but it has stomped pretty much everywhere within reason, and poked its fingers into the holes, stomped on the platform, and by the time the spell expires, uh, nothing has happened. Oh, sorry, that's an hour. Never mind.
Yeah.
How long do you want to wait? 10 minutes? I thought
Yeah.
this was reasonable.
Yeah, just however long I think it can do a reasonable job in.
Reasonable job, 10 minutes.
All right, so nothing's happened. That might mean this only responds to living things and not just
Yes,
summoned apparitions.
I do recall some glyphs of warding that had that problem.
Yes. Well, I don't think we're dealing with glyph warding here. This feels more like like basically almost like a prison. It's meant to capture people, I suspect. I suspect those holes are some sort of maybe some sort of knockout gas or some sort of vapor or something that will render us unconscious, possibly in my case. And then this place will presumably the door will somehow seal, is what I think, because this is somehow a trap. But as far as we can tell, there are no other obvious exits from this room. Then again, there might be secret doors.
You saw nothing on the arch or anything there. The only two obvious things
Are those
were
holes?
holes.
All right.
The
Well,
only,
I'm
the only way to check what those are,
is to go into the room.
either go in the room or send your arcane eye in, which, by the way, will fit through those holes.
Yes, that's not a bad idea. The arcane eye will give us some visual at the very least. It can't search for traps or doors, unfortunately.
No, it can't. You only get perception checks through it.
I only get visual information. All right. Well, I think this is a good time to break out some divination to see what's going on here. So I will conjure my invisible wizard's eye.
Okay, I would like you to roll a perception check, please. Just a straight roll.
Yeah. All right. One thing first. Yeah. Uh, I can conjure it up to 30 feet away. I
Okay,
will conjure it 30 feet into the room.
sure.
You said perception?
Your perception,
My perception. Okay.
not through the eye.
That's high. 25.
You're not certain because you were doing a bunch of preparations, but you heard what sounded like a muffled expletive.
Okay. I think there is maybe someone in here and it hasn't. Well, wait. I'm going to whisper that to you as best I can.
Stealth, please.
Yes. Natural 20. You may not be able to hear me.
I'm not entirely sure where that came from, but I understand kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I think we may. Someone's observing us.
All right.
I don't know if they recognize my spell or not, but the best I can do is have it try and go through one of those holes and see what's on the other side for the time being.
Okay. Something here. That's what oh yeah. Sorry. Okay. Can you refresh me what your arcane eye can see, please?
All right. So I automatically mentally receive visual information from it, which has normal vision and dark vision up to 30 feet.
Okay.
It can look in any direction, and as an action, I can move the eye up to 30 feet in any direction.
Okay.
And it can be as ever far away as it needs to be.
You got it.
No.
All right. Your arcane eye goes into the room.
Yep.
It can easily fit through that hole.
Yep.
On the other side of that hole is a corridor.
All right.
That corridor uh, runs parallel to that back wall. And all right, hold on a second. All right, it goes through the hole.
Yes.
See the corridor in both directions. There's a wall here, and it turns this way. And there's a wall here, and it turns that way.
Okay, so it doesn't continue along the other.
Right where that hole is a chair.
And no one's sitting there at the moment
No.
that I can tell for the time being because my arcane eye can't see invisible things.
I would like you to roll a straight perception check, please, for the
Okay.
information I can give you.
All right. 10.
Okay. You see that empty corridor. What
All
would
right.
you like?
So my eye doesn't see any obvious methods of any secret doors on that side that are obvious.
Uh, Currently,
Yeah.
eye is right here, and it's just done a 360 to show you those things I told you about.
All right. I would like it to come this way along the corridor.
This way?
No,
This
other
way?
way. Yes. As
Okay.
far as it can, I wanted to try and look for a latch or anything anything that might indicate a secret door, and that would allow us
This way
access to this corridor.
reaches a wall that heads north and then turns again this way.
All right. So I don't.
No,
So my arcane eye doesn't see anything.
not yet.
All right. It could be along the wall. See, the thing is that goes further back, right, away from the wall.
Sorry, what? Yes.
The
This
corridor goes further back away from the wall.
yeah, this corridor is about this wide,
Yeah.
and then it turns, and then it turns again. So we're making a bit of a dog leg here.
Okay, it could be around the other side. All right. Well, I have my arcane eye continue.
Continues, it turns again this way,
Mhm.
and then continues this way. And in this direction, you see the other hole and another chair.
All right. Does this passage continue around as well?
It continues and then turns this way.
Yeah. Before it turns, I'd like it to do a perception check in that area to see if there's a secret door.
All right.
All right. 16.
Yep.
All right. I want to continue down.
We continue
Maybe it's
down.
on the walls here.
And about here, the corridor ends. And you see a lever on this wall, and you see the back end of a secret door.
Okay, so there is a secret door in that room. And as far as I can tell, no one else is in there at the time being.
The only place you haven't been is over on this side
All right.
here.
I'd like my arcane eye to go backtrack along
Yep,
and just check in that side as well.
nothing.
All right.
So now,
So if there's anyone there, they're invisible, I say. They also could just run off because I did hear someone.
you heard a very mild expletive,
Yes.
as in like, oh crap.
Yes. So,
That happened when you were casting Arcane Eye.
yeah, so I think they may have recognized the spell. They could just be being quiet and
You
visible.
cannot search with that eye.
No, I cannot. Technically, it is tangible, so I can have it try and bump into things, but what good does that do?
You wouldn't feel it, so it doesn't matter.
So as far as I can tell, there's only one secret door in there.
No, there's two.
Okay,
One on this side and one on that side. The
there's
back
secret doors
ends.
on both sides.
Yep. They're the back ends of secret doors.
Yeah. There's a lever on the other side. My arcane eye can't do anything with that.
Nope. My unseen servant could, but
It
I
ha
wouldn't be able to see to instruct it.
no, and your unseen servant technically cannot go through walls.
No.
We could go in there and try and get through that secret door, but if there is someone waiting there invisible, that's just the same as us basically falling for the trap. Well, there is one option.
What's that?
I could go in there, try and search for the secret door, using my arcane eye to give me a bit of possible assistance with that from the other side for a visual. And I could try and find that. And if the trap triggers, and it is what I think it is, some sort of sleeping gas or other thing, my periapt might protect me from it.
I disagree.
Anything we should both go?
You're thinking of one kind of trap. If it is some other form of trap,
Mhm.
you need help.
Yes. All right. I'm just saying you being on this side might be able to provide assistance and not fall for the trap as well.
Possibly.
Mhm.
Or we could just be dividing the party in two.
Yep. So you think it's a better idea for us to both go?
Uh, if this is a trap, which both of us are part of that role anyway, think it is,
Mhm.
strength in numbers.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm concentrating on the arcane eye for the moment.
Mhm.
If we step around this corner, you could make us both invisible.
Yep.
I assume you have invisibility prepared.
Hmm?
I assume you have invisibility prepared.
Ever since I got the spell,
All right. If you cast a third level invisibility spell, we'll both be invisible. So will the arcane eye, And at least for the next little while, we might be able to avoid whatever this is.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I want us to do is step around the corner out of the archway so we don't have a visual.
Yep.
You turn us invisible, and then we go in.
I would roll a stealth check, please.
Does this have advantage or?
Yeah, actually, you can have advantage because it's auditory and we're going around a wall.
Well, that isn't the best. All right, my stealth 15.
Okay.
All right, so we're invisible now.
Yes.
All right, we'll have to hold hands for this,
Sure.
or tie ourselves together, one or the other.
We've always held hands before.
Yeah, we might need our hands to search for the door, unfortunately.
Well, we're not going to go very far from each other.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to where I think the secret door is on the side my arcane eye is. We might as well stick together.
All right. We go around here,
Yes.
enter the room, and head towards this one or that one.
The one my arcane eye on, which should be that side.
So the last time your arcane eye was just behind here.
Yes, so we want to go towards that one.
So we head
We
this
might
way.
as well stick together.
Yep. And you hear in a loud, mocking voice, about bloody time.
All
And
right.
you hear a portcullis drop behind us.
All right.
Says, you too are just ripe with magic items that I am going to own soon. I want you to meet a friend of mine. This section of wall drops down.
And there's a statue.
Nope, that's all I can find for graphics.
Okay.
Sorry. It says, and he says in a very sinister voice, "Kill them." And what you see is a rather large stone figure, but it's a skeleton. It looks, uh, it looks like
A stone skeleton.
it looks like a stone skeleton of quite some size. I would like you to roll an Arcana check, please.
Okay. Um, Unfortunately, I'm very good at Arcana. 21.
This is reminiscent of a stone golem,
A
but
stone bone golem.
now it's in the shape of a skeleton.
Okay. I do not know how that adjusts to a stone golem.
But
The
this,
main advantage of a skeleton is like it's got holes in it that like piercing weapons will go through. But in general, those don't affect golems either.
this is
This is
purely, I
the
think,
artistic license, I guess.
somebody wanted it to look like this.
All right. Did I have any idea where the voice came from? Other than the other side of the wall.
It's on the other side of that wall.
All right. I think I was right that someone was invisible. There wasn't much I could do though. I can't cast see invisibility on the arcane eye, and I can't cast see invisibility on myself, and then see invisible creatures through the arcane eye. No.
You see what you see with it.
All
And
right.
that rumbling voice says that
Yeah.
this golem stirs to life.
Can it see us though?
Hold on a sec. A bit of a mar on that die. I couldn't quite read the number for a second.
Mhm.
Hold on a sec. Let's see what. I know you have a table of interest here. Where are you? Where did I put your sheet? Oh, there you are. Okay. What is your perception?
I'll just remind you I rolled a 15 on my stealth check last.
Okay, we have that. It starts rumbling towards us with fists raised.
All right. So it
And
seems to be aware of our presence.
it's too early to tell.
All right. I know there are some creatures that can see invisibility or have
Yep,
true seeing, or just have, um, if I remember correctly, these are from some older edition rules, but have a percentage chance of being able to detect invisible creatures. I don't remember if golems are one of the ones that have that.
we don't know.
I don't know.
But I've added it into the initiative order, and it is now stumbling into the room. Not
Okay.
stumbling. It is stomping into the room with
Stomping
purpose.
into the room. Okay.
It is currently right about here. We are right about here. And this is what we're going to call our break.
All right, then. We'll come back and deal with this and its creator, who is being very evasive thus far and seems to favor illusions after our break.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you in a few moments.